Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. So, first of all, let me check whether I am audible or not. So, you guys can also give me the confirmation that whether my voice is clear or not. Is my voice is clear? Everyone? Those who are watching, can you give me the confirmation? And then maybe we can wait for a few minutes so that everyone will join and then we can start. So initially, I was planned to start the live session from 9 p.m., but later on, something urgent comes up, so uh, I delayed 30 minutes. But I'm not sure how many will be able to get an idea about this particular part. But let's see. Otherwise, there will definitely be a recording which is available to everyone, and they can watch. Okay, so Vikas Kumar is saying it's clear, audible. Ansh is also saying it's audible. Perfect. Perfect. So, meanwhile, people are joining. I'm trying to give you one thing. Let me just open it up first. I just want to explain to you. Many students are asking the similar things on the LinkedIn. So, first of all, let me share my screen. And you guys let me know that whether my screen is visible or not, okay? So let me share the screen first. Mm, okay, can you guys give me the confirmation that whether my screen is clearly visible to everyone or not before we will start our session? Is my screen is visible to everyone? Something black screen is coming up, mastering Python data structure with real life examples. Okay, visible? Perfect, perfect. So what I was saying here is, I have opened up this my channel. So many people are saying that create a playlist where you are talking about DSA with Python, because there is not much more content is available with respect to DSA using Python. So I told to them, but let me just tell it in the video itself so that you will guys get to know that we already have a video by the name of DSA using Python, and there are so many topics, almost every topic. This particular playlist is very matured, I would say. If you will observe, starting from why data structure required, after the discussion about complexity part, discussion about array data structure, recursion, binary search, again a very much important topic, I would say, sorting algorithms, heap data structure, a very in-depth video of this particular heap data structure, which I don't think you will be able to find anywhere, because at my time when I was looking for the resources out there, I won't be able to get. That's why I'm saying, after that link list, you will be having questions with respect to link list. Then again, a very important module by the name of divide and conquer, a complete algorithm which is very widely asked in interviews with respect to quick sort, selection procedure, finding of kth smallest element, stack, queues, trees, graphs, DP. I hope, I don't know how many of you have encountered this playlist, but this playlist is very much matured with a lot of quality content. And for those who are looking for the interview based questions, for example, you are having an interview, and you all know that for the very first round, the interview questions will be of DSA. You're going for technical round, you're going for technical interviews, or maybe the very first round where lead code based questions will be asked. So a separate playlist by the name of Fang DSA interview series is there. There are more videos which we supposed to upload. Either I'll take the live sessions, and there only I'll come up and will try to live, will do the implementation of the problems. I'm thinking of that as well. But anyhow, whatever videos are there, at least you can go through with that videos as well, because these videos are again are the videos which personally I encountered the problems when I was giving the interviews. maximum questions with respect to that only, because when I was pursuing my masters, I got a chance to sit for a lot many companies, starting from Google to any startup. So whatsoever questions I have encountered, I have explained the question, the solution, the optimized approach, everything in this playlist. So those who are daily, on a daily basis, at least 1 2 questions I am hearing from past few days with respect to DSA part. So it's, please try to see the playlist with respect to, if you're specifically looking for the interview part, go with the playlist of Fang DSA interview series. If you are specifically looking for the conceptual understanding of the DSA portion and you want the implementation in Python, so as I told you, go with the previous playlist where I am talking about DSA using Python. Even the today's session, which we are going to cover up, the live tutorial mastering Python data structure using real life examples, I am inserting in this playlist itself. So video number 6, once this particular session will get over, you will be clearly able to see the recording in this particular playlist itself. I hope everyone will be able to get a sense out of it. Any doubt in this particular part? Anyone? Anyone is having any doubt? I hope it is clear. Okay. Now let's start our today's session if everything is clear so far so good. So basically today's agenda is to talk about the data structures that we have with respect to Python programming language and its use case. Any particular reason to choose Python for DSA? Okay. So let's talk about that first before moving ahead. See, this is what many students used to ask to me, ma'am, or which programming language should I go first with respect to understanding the DSA part. I always say that the programming language is just a tool. Now, I remember before joining master's program, I was doing the DSA using Java programming language. Why? Because at that point of time I was doing the job with as a software engineering, and there the projects which I was covering up is in Java. Now when I entered into the masters in AI program, so you all know that there Python is something which is quite frequently used. So I started implementing DSA using Python. Now when you will go for the interviews specifically, no one will ask you that you have to implement this question using this programming language itself. It's all your wish. Whichever programming language you want to implement, you can do the implementation. What they are looking for is, they are looking for a good logic. What they are looking for is that you will be able to uh, write a code in such a way which is having a lower time and the space complexity. Will you be able to write that? If yes, you're good to go for the next round. If you will not able to write that particular code, you will not allow to go for the next rounds. So specifically, if you will ask from me why Python, the very main reason with respect to the Python is those who are specifically going into AI domain or data science domain, Python is something which is very very handy for them, because DSA is something which you always required whether you are going in any of the domain, as I always say. But if you're doing using Python, you will be having a grip over it. I hope I'm making sense to everyone. But suppose if there is someone who are specifically looking for, having a 5-star code chef rank or anything like that, at that point of time, obviously, Python is something which, which will take some time to execute the code as comparable to Java or C++. At that point of time, specifically, you can go for those programming languages as well. But specifically talking about interviews, it doesn't matter whatsoever programming language you're comfortable with, you can go ahead with respect to DSA, as far as your concepts are clear, as far as your understanding or fundamentals are clear. You can go with that particular point. Can I go for AI ML with Java as like Python? No. AI ML is something where Python is something which is having a lot of packages. Otherwise, you will face a lot of difficulty. So let's get started with now the data structures with respect to Python programming language. But before talking about this particular part, just give me a second. Okay. So now whenever I'm talking about data structures, right? Whenever I'm talking about data structures, what do you understand by data structures? Anyone who can say to me? What is the meaning of data structures? Before we will start talking about that, what are the data structures that we have in Python, which we usually frequently use, we should know, right? What is the meaning of a data structure itself? Now, as the name suggests, right? A way, a tool which is basically used to store the data in a structured manner. Now, we want to store the data in an efficient way. And there are so many ways to store that. Usually, in data structures, we will be having something called as arrays. We will be having something called as, linked list, right? We will be having something called as, stack, queue, tree, and many more, and many more. I hope everyone knows that we will be having a lot many different types of data structures. Now, sometimes people usually think that data structure algorithm is one and the same thing. No, it's not like that. Algorithm, what is algorithm? What do we mean by algorithms, by the way? What is the meaning of algorithms? Who will tell me? So, storing data in an efficient way, Anshu is saying. Vikas is saying data stored in memory in structured format. Pratik is saying structured form of something. Vishnu is saying way to manage and organize the data. So everyone's definition is somewhat, I would say, similar, and it's very much apt as well. Now, what is an algorithm? Who will tell to me? What is an algorithm? In an algorithm, we try to apply a sequence of steps to solve a particular problem. So here, basically, I am talking about the logic building part. Here, basically, I will try to build a logic building. Why? Because I have to tell to my program a sequence of steps, right, to majorly solve any particular problem. Can I say? To majorly solve any particular problem. That is something that we called a algorithm. Now, whenever we are talking about a Python data structure, by the way, whenever we are talking about algorithms, again, we will be having a different ways of algorithms. For example, you must have heard of some algorithm called as divide and conquer. Just now, I have shown you the examples of that in my playlist as well, right? There is an algorithmic concept by the name of, I would say, dynamic programming. Again, you must have heard of dynamic programming. Again, we will be having an algorithm by the name of greedy algorithms, and many more, and many more. So what I'm saying is that algorithms and data structure, these two are different things. In data structure, what we are trying to do is we are trying to store the data in an efficient way. That is what we are trying to do here. I hope everyone is able to get a sense what I'm saying here. Now, specific to Python programming language, because today's focus is on Python specifically. So if you're looking for a Python-based data structures, can anyone tell me what are the 4 very common data structures in Python that we usually see and that we usually work very frequently? The very first is, who will tell me the answer? Who will tell me the answer? Retrieving data from data structure is algorithm? No, I don't say it would be apt. Pseudocode to solve a problem? Again, it's not apt. Whatever I said is actually something that you called as algorithms. Sequence of steps to solve any particular problem is something that we can say is an algorithm, right? Now, what are the different types of data structures that you have heard of or used in Python programming language? That's what I am asking from you all. So Anshu is saying that he knows about list, dictionary, and tuple. That's true. That's true. That's amazing. We will be having list, that we very frequently used. Then we will be having second, tuple. Third is something that we have is, I would say everyone must have used, is set, right? And the last one, which I'll talk about in today's session, is dictionary. Is everyone heard of these terms, or is anyone is listening for the very first time here? So we will be having four majorly, it's not like that we will be having only four, but these are the four which are very frequently we are using. The very first in the list is the list, right? Now, whenever we are talking about list data structure in Python, what is this? What is this? Anyone who knows about the list data structure? First of all, whenever we are initializing a list, we are using this kind of a bracket in Python. And with the help of a bracket itself, you will be able to you should be able to understand that, okay, this is something which where I'm working as a list. Now, again, list is something where we are trying to store multiple items, just like an array. Just like an array, right? But here we can store of different type as well. By saying different type, I am saying different data type. We can store elements of different data type as well, right? Now, if suppose I'll say to you that let me just show you. So if I'll say to you that how basically you can initialize any list, so as I told you, so you can say list one, and here this kind of bracket is basically used to initialize a list. If I'll just do like this, it's done. If I'll show you what is the type of this, you can just write type of list one, and you will be able to get an answer that the data type is of list. So for any data type, if you want to really see, you can directly see that. Now, if suppose I'll enter some numbers here, for example, I'm entering 1, 2, I can enter maybe Priya, okay? I can enter maybe, maybe Bhatia. I can enter maybe 24, 23, anything. I can enter maybe, CV, anything like that. Now, if I run it again, and if I'll show to you the output of this list one, you will be able to get the correct result, right? Whatsoever list you have initialized, you will be able to get the output of that. Now, here, one thing if you will observe, as I told you that we can store the elements inside the list of different type as well. It's not like the static array that we usually studied in our Java programming languages. If you remember, whenever the concept of array came into picture, what we understood is that it will always store the values in a homogeneous way. Homogeneous data type should be there. If we are storing int, so we can store all the elements of integer type. But in list, this is not the scenario. You can store multiple data type as well in the list itself. Now, if suppose you want to access any element in the list, how will you access that? If suppose you want to access any element, just like an array, here also we will be having a concept of index number. So every particular element that you have inserted inside the list has its index number. So if suppose I want to access maybe Priya, so what is the index number of Priya? Who will tell me? What is the index number of Priya? What is the index number of Priya? So 2. I hope Ansh is saying it correctly, right? 2. So if I just write 2 here, I'll be able to get Priya. What is this property called as, by the way? Who will tell me? What is this property called as? In an array, we are just passing the index number and we will be able to get the output. What is this property called as? This property is something that we call as random access. I hope everyone knows this part, right? So whenever I am accessing any element just by passing the index number, This property is something that we already know as random access. And I would say that's the real beauty of the list or the array data structure that we have. That's the real beauty. That's where, if that property was not there, we will not able to do the binary search. An amazing application, right? Where the time complexity from big O of n to big O of log n we will be able to reduce. So random access is something which is a very, very crucial property that we have in a list or in an array. Here I am using list or array, one and the same thing. And whenever we are talking specific to Python programming language, here we always have a concept of dynamic list. There is nothing like a static array we have. Means we don't need to specifically mention at the start of our code that I need 10 values or I need 20 space, I need 30 space. No, we don't need to say like that. Dynamic list concept says that what you can do is there is no need to define anything initially. What it will do is initially, internally, it will create a space and assume that by default the space is 10. So here you will be having a list. And what will happen internally is that once you will be able to store the elements, 10 elements will get stored. Okay. For example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And here we will be having 8 and 9. So suppose you will be able to insert all the elements in the list as you didn't define anything, the size or anything. What will happen when the 10th element you will enter, there's no space, right? So usually in the static array concept, we will always get a out of bound kind of exception. But here, this kind of exception will not happen. Internally, what will happen? It will automatically create a space. A memory will create a space of double size. So what will happen if this is the list 1 that I have? So it will create a new list 1 with double the size that I have. And that's what the concept of dynamic list says. That I will not trouble the user who is writing the code, the developer who is writing the code. What I will do is I'll automatically create a new memory of size. I'm not writing anything here. Now I'm just explaining to you from 0, 1, 2 to 19. So automatically 20 spaces will come up so that user will keep on adding the values inside the list. Is this part is clear to everyone what I'm saying here? So that's why you will observe that whenever we are working with a list in Python, we are not defining any kind of a space that we usually define in other programming languages. And nor we are getting out of bound kind of exception because internally memory is taking care of that. Is this concept is clear to everyone, whatever I have said here? Any doubt until so far? Anyone? Okay, I hope now it is clear then. No one is asking any doubt. Okay, so moving ahead. Next important property of this list is that you can change in the list itself. You can change this list itself. Means what I can say is it is immutable. Means in simple words, what I can say here is that we can change the original list also. Means if I will be having a list 1 I have created, and suppose this list 1 is having some elements, not like this is the bracket. List 1 is having 1, 2, 3, 4. So if in future need will come, I can add or delete any of the elements in the specific list that I have. In that same list, I can make the changes. So this is where the concept of list will came into picture. Some real life example, if you will observe, if suppose someone is working in machine learning, in machine learning domain, we very frequently use with the data sets. And that too, CSV files. I hope everyone have ever encountered CSV files, comma separated files. Is everyone use that at any point of time? So all these files, whenever you load this kind of data, you will be able to get that these are inserted in the form of a list only once you load in the main coding file. So a huge amount of data. So what I can say is a huge amount of data storage is done in the form of a list. In the form of a list. Because it's quite handy to use, the very first thing. And it's easily accessible, as I told you, with the help of a passing the index number itself, we can access any of the element, right? And then the good thing is that we can change the values inside the list if we want in future as well. So with this much flexibility of the list, we are using this particular list in real life a lot many number of times. I hope this part is clear to everyone. Now, the next important data structure that we have in our list is tuple. Now, a very widely asked interview question. I'm not sure how many of you have faced this question, but usually in an interview, people ask that what is the difference between list and tuple. And many of you guys don't know. Many of the people says wrong answer. The very first difference you will observe that whenever you are initializing tuple, the bracket is like this. This kind of bracket is used to initialize a tuple that we have. For example, if I'll just now show you, for example, I'll say tuple1, which is equal to, I'm just typing this. And if I'll say type of this particular tuple1, you will be easily able to get that this is tuple. So by default, internally, we have defined tuple kind of a data structure and whose initialization will always be like this. Now, if I just want to add the things inside this tuple1, if I'll show you, so this is the function that we have, count and the index. Means I am not having any function to add anything new inside this tuple1, which I already have created. Yeah, I can redefine this by saying like this 2, 5, 7, 9, 10. And if I just again type it, and if I again, display it, I'll be able to get that. But if I want to make change in this particular tuple 1 dot, you will observe that there is nothing as such function called as add, remove. Why is that so? Already Ansh have written the answer. Why is that so? Because tuples are immutable. And that's the huge difference between a list and a tuple. So if someone is asking you in future in any of the interview, the very, very huge difference between the list and tuple is this only. If you will observe, whenever we are dealing with a tuple, we cannot change the values of a tuple. So in other words, you can say it is not changeable. It is not changeable. Or I would say immutable. You must have heard this term. Many of you don't know the meaning of this term. Immutable is something same as not changeable. Similarly, here also you must have heard the term where I have written changeable. Right. So you must have heard the term mutable. Right? Mutable is also same as change. We can change it. Immutable means we cannot change it. That's where the biggest difference between the list and tuple came into picture. The third most important property of tuple is that, tuple is doing a faster operations or is faster as comparable to list. Who will give me the reason for that? I am saying that tuple is faster than the list. What is the reason behind that? Can anyone answer to me this particular part? Think over it. I'm saying that tuple is way faster than the list. What's the reason behind that? So Ansh is saying it needed lesser memory, that's why, as it provides less methods. Okay. Any other answer anyone can think of? Just now I gave you the reason. Just now, few minutes back. If you're listening very cautiously, you will be able to correlate the things, whatever I'm saying here. What I told you few minutes back, I told you in Python there is a concept of dynamic list. So what usually happens in list, that user will keep on adding the data. After some point of time, what happens is that once this particular list will be filled up, automatically a new list will be created, where first of all these 10 elements will get copied up, right? After that, we are adding the 11th element, which is which requires a lot of time. But what will happen in tuple? Tuple will always create a single block, because it knows that now once tuple is created, no one can add or remove this particular values, right? So because of the property of immutability, the tuples operations are way faster than list. Because in list, we keep on adding the data. That's where the concept of dynamic list came into picture. That's where the concept of copying the data from one list to another list came into picture. That's where the time required to copy that is very high as comparable to tuple. Now, if suppose someone will ask you that at what point of time which particular data structure we should go for, you can answer it. You can say that, see, if you want to make changes in the data, if you want to make changes, then what will you say? Which particular data structure you should go? If the need is to make changes, amendments at any point of time, which particular data structure we should go? We should go for, exactly, we should go for list. And if there is a kind of a data where you think that there is not much amendment is required, where there is not that much adding of data is required, then we should go, you can go for tuple. Second thing, you can say that if the need is to do operations much faster, then you can go for tuple. And now you know the reason behind that as well. I hope everyone is able to get a sense of what I'm saying here. One request is, please do hit like button and share this video with everyone, right? This will really help me to reach to all the students as well, right? I usually forget, but please do it, right? Now the next data structure that we have is in the list is set. Again, see, this is what I usually say. We have multiple data structures, we have multiple algorithms. But in every session, whatever sessions you will take from anyone, your mind should work in such a way that, okay, if there is always a list present, why tuple came into picture? If tuple is there, why set is coming into picture? Now let's try to understand why set is coming into picture. First of all, whenever set is coming up, the way to represent or define this set is like this. Now you will observe that the way of set and dictionary definition is same. This curly braces is there. But there is a huge difference which I'll talk about when I'll go towards dictionary at the very end. But let's focus on set as of now. So what we can do is we can define any of the set. For example, set 1, which is equal to, this is how you can define a set. Now, if I just show you the type of this particular set 1, you will be able to get that it is showing to me dict. It is not showing to me set. Why is that so? Just now I talked about that the way to define this curly braces is dictionary. But here if I just add the values now, see the difference. 2, 5, 8, 9, 10. Randomly I'm writing any of the values here. Now if I will again show to you, you will observe it is showing to me the type as set. So when you just empty define those curly braces, it will be a dictionary type. But then the way we are inserting the data, you will observe that it will give to you the answer as set. Now the question can be, how can I access the element in the set? Can I access via any index number? What do you think? if I'll say set 1 of 0, will I be able to get the answer? Will I be able to get the value as 2? What do you think? So if I write, if I want to get the values via access number, index number, will I be able to get the values or not? What is your answer in that? Anyone? Any answer? Let's try to run this. What you're getting? Set object is no. So someone is saying yes, someone is saying no. No, we'll not able to get that. Why? Because here, if you will observe, there is very much important property that we have in sets, that these values in the sets are not in a ordered fashion. These are not in a ordered fashion. Means it's not always that at index number 0 that value will be there. But when we're talking about list, that's an ordered fashion values. That's why with the help of the index number, we will be able to get that. Another important property of a set is that it does not allow any duplicates. It does not allow any sort of a duplicates. Very, very important property. And because of this property only, I would say sets are heavily used. For example, if someone will give you a code in an interview and will say that, I'm having one list, for example, and that contains the duplicate elements. For example, 2, 5, 7, 2, 9, 1, 2, something like this. Now, I want unique elements to print. That's a kind of a code that you can have in any of the interviews, right? Removal of a duplicate elements. You want elements to be displayed, that too without any duplicacy. One simple thing in Python that you're supposed to do to solve this problem, you need to convert this particular list to set. This is how basically we can convert this. And even in solving many machine learning projects use cases, wherever actually the need comes where we need to remove the duplicacy, the set plays a very important role. This is a real time use case of using a set. Many number of times we really want to remove the duplicate values that we have in a list, and for that what we do is we need to do a conversion. We need to convert the list that we have to set, and that's how we can convert. Even vice versa operation you can do, but here the need is to basically remove the duplicate elements, right? So what I can do is maybe I can store this inside set 2, and now I can display the values present inside set 2. So what you can see, that's why I was saying also it's not an ordered fashion. 1 is coming up first, then 2, then 5, then 7, and then 9. So here if you will observe, the 2 which was coming 3 number of times in the original list that we have, now is coming only 1 time. That's the real use case where we are trying to use sets a lot, many number of times. Now, if I'll just show you the operations that we have in list, there are too many. For example, if I want to add the elements inside the list, for example, if I want to add maybe 15, and then I want to display set 2, what you can see, element will be added. Suppose inside set 2, you want to copy the values to another set, you can do that. You want to calculate a difference between the two sets. Now, I hope everyone have understood the concepts of set that we have in mathematics, doing the union, intersection, disjoint, finding the difference. All those things we can do in this particular, calling this function itself. If you will apply clear operation, what will happen? What will happen? If I'll show you now the set 2, your set is clear. Whatever data you have inside the set 2, it automatically gets cleared up. There is nothing that we have now. So basically, what I can say is, what we have understood here is that whenever we are talking about set, the major use case in real time is in order to remove the duplicate values that we have. Now, the next interesting data structure that we have is the dictionary. Again, a very, very interesting data structure. Now, in both of these data structures, sets and dictionary, internally, one data structure is coming up. Internally, when these two data structures are designed, they have used one common data structure. Can anyone tell me the answer? Anyone knows what kind of data structure they have used to develop set and dictionary in Python? Let's see who will be able to give me the correct answer. That is fine. I know dictionary is again represented by this, and it contains a key value pair. That's very much true. Key value pair. But my question is, please try to listen this question again. What I'm saying is, in both of the sets and dictionary, there is one common data structure which is being used in the development side to create these two data structures. What are those? Anyone knows? Again, here also, key is something that is the unique one. Means in dictionary, we does not allow duplicate keys. Again, a very important thing and very important property. I am saying what data structure is there to implement this set and dictionary? Anyone knows the answer? Anyone can answer me? I'm just waiting for a few minutes. If no one will able to answer to me, then obviously I'll tell to you. No idea? What about others? So Vikas is saying no idea. What about others? Think about all the data structures that we have. Array, linked list, hashing. Now I'm trying to give you a hint. Okay? Hashing. Can I say hashing is the one? So basically, I'm not sure how many of you knows about this data structure named hashing. It's a data structure where you will observe that the lookup time, what is lookup? Or I would say the searching time to search any element is constant, big O of 1. This hashing data structure is being used to create a set as well as a dictionary. But the way it is, defined, initialize the values inside that is different. In the set, the key is the index number itself. The key is the index number itself. Or obviously, you know that index number is unique for every particular element that you are inserting. In the dictionary, the index number is something that we will pass. How? Let me show you now. So basically, the very first thing is how basically we can create a dictionary. So dict1, which is equal to, I can say like this. If I just write simple this, I just showed you that when you will type the dict1, it will show to you the answer as dict. But how can I initialize the values inside that? That is the biggest question. For example, I want to enter the details of an employee. For example, I am an employee, or maybe someone in the session, I can take the name of Ansh maybe. For example, I am saying that name is something is the key. Name is the key. So here basically what is happening is we are entering the key. We are entering the manual index numbers by ourselves. In the set, index number is the key. I hope you will be able to get a difference between these two, what I'm saying. Common thing is that internally hash map is being used. But the difference is that in sets, the index number is manually defined internally by the index number. In dictionary, the index number is what we are defining. For example, name is the index here. And the name is, I'm saying Ansh. Okay? This is how basically we define the key and the value. This is how basically we can define the key and the value. For example, I'm saying that, email. email id, email id. And the value I am defining maybe, ansh at the rate gmail.com. After that, suppose I am saying, contact details. And here I am mentioning maybe 2, 7, something like that. When randomly I am writing any number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Done. Now, if I just see the details of now dict 1, you will be able to get the answer as name is this, email ID is this, contact is this. If you want, you can add more details, you can add more values, you can add more indexes. Now, I want in dict 1, what is the email ID of Ansh? So what I supposed to do, as I told you that this key is the index you can consider in your head. Just like in a list, we will be having 0, 1, 2 to get access the element. Similarly, what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to add dict 1. Inside that, you just need to enter the email ID. Email ID. And you will be able to get the output as ansh@gmail.com. Suppose I want the contact detail of Ansh. So what I supposed to do is I'll say dict 1 of contact and I will be able to get his contact details. I hope this part is clear to everyone. Now, if suppose in future I want to make changes in this particular dictionary that I have. Suppose what I want is I want to maybe in Ansh details, maybe I want to add the address of him. So what I will do is I will say dict of address, dict 1 of address, and here I'll define maybe the address as ABC colony. Okay, done. If I just want to see the dict 1, what will be there? Now you can see addresses automatically get added in the details of the Ansh that we have. Name is there, email ID is there, contact is there, and the address is also there. So this is how basically we can add the numbers, the values inside the dictionary. So will it be mutable or immutable now? Can we change the values in the dictionary or not? What will be your answer? Can I say that we can change it? That's why this data structure is something which is having a property of mutability. It's mutable. Right? Now, apart from whatever things we have studied here, that is with respect to list, with respect to sets, with respect to tuple, with respect to dictionary, there are other data structures that we have in Python itself. For example, today after this session, try to go and explore about string. Many people think that this is not a data structure in Python, but this is. Check it out. Something you should also do as your research work. So you do your own research to check it out. This is the today's after end of the session. I usually enjoy to give something new to the students which they can go and check it out on their own rather than giving everything to them. So I really want you all to go and check it out and let me know maybe in the comment section of this video, what do you think? Is this string is a data structure in Python or not? And if yes, then what do you think? How will it work? I want everyone to write the comment in below this video towards talking about this string data structure. Once you do your research, then only come up with something amazing. Short and crisp again. I don't want a big paragraphs. Short and crisp answers will be there. Those whose answers I found it pretty much amazing, I'll for sure respond to their replies, their comments. Okay. Now, this is something which I really want to talk about in this session. So I didn't use even the PPT also. Usually I don't use that also while explaining, but still what things are there? So we have seen about list, tuple, sets and dictionaries in today's session. We have talked about what is list, then the tuple, The major difference that we can see in the list and the tuple is that whenever we are talking about a list, it is something which is who will tell me? List is something which is immutable or mutable. People usually get confused in between these two terms. If you don't remember the mutable or immutable, at least you can say it in a simple terms that list we can change it and tuples we cannot change it. And that's the major reason of having a faster operations in tuples as comparable to list. So I hope when in the next interview someone will ask you this kind of questions, you will be easily able to explain to them. After that, we have talked about sets, and we have seen that the major application of sets is to remove the duplicates in the list that we have, right? So that is something that we can do on a set. Apart from this, we can do another mathematical operations like union, intersection, sets operations, that whatever we have heard of and done in our lower classes, all those operations with the help of a function we can do. The last one is a dictionary that we have talked about, which basically stored the values in a key value pair. And we can easily add the data inside the dictionary. Majorly, if you will observe, whenever we are talking about dictionaries, anyone who can tell me where you have seen dictionary kind of a file? I believe if you have heard of JSON files, these are the kind of files that you will see in the form of a dictionary. So just go and check it out if you haven't checked it out. But you will observe that whatsoever JSON files that we have, that is in the form of a dictionary. So I hope I am audible. Light is not there, but it will come later on. So this is something that we have is in the form of a dictionary, means it is something that we have in the form of a key value pair that we have, right? At the very end, I have talked about the string part, where I told you that just try to do your own research and find out that is this a data structure or not, the very first thing. If yes, how basically it will work. I hope with this everything is pretty much clear to everyone, and we are good to go, right? I hope you find this session insightful. Yes or no? Is this helpful to everyone? And do you want these notes? Whatever I have written? So if you want, what I can do, I can save it and I'll upload on my GitHub. So I can show you also this thing. One more thing I want to show, because many people don't know this thing as well. Just give me a sec. So this is my GitHub repository, okay? Here, if you will go in the repositories part, you will find out something by the name of YouTube session notes in my GitHub repository. Even if you will search on the web Priya Bhatia GitHub, you will be able to get a topmost link itself. There is no need to share the GitHub link also. Although if you want, there is a link in the description of this particular video. You will be able to get the link of the GitHub as well. So here what you can do is you need to go to the YouTube session notes. All the notes are there inside this. For example, today we have talked about whatsoever live session. I will give the name as mastering data structures in Python. So I'll upload it inside this particular folder if you really want. So you can extract it from here, right? And there is one playlist by the name of statistics for data science. For that, I have created a separate repository by the name of stats session notes. And you can go inside this, you can take all the notes, and even one book is also there which you can refer to understand the concepts. Even in the description I have mentioned the link and the playlist name inside my repository. Okay, so I'll upload it here if you want. It's great. I think it's been 1 hour, and I hope you really find it informative, this session. Any feedback if you want to give, I am waiting for your comments. After that, maybe we can end the session. Needed your guidance on cracking the gate and pursuing masters in IIT, being inspired from you. So maybe we can talk it on the next live Q&A part, not on this particular session. If you have any doubts with respect to today's session, whatever we have discussed, I am ready to take that. Otherwise, we can end the today's session. Whenever I'm coming up with a live Q&A, then I can answer these questions. Okay. Okay, then I think we are good to go. Thank you so much for joining today. And I'll upload the notes in the repository, which I have just now talked about. And with this, let's end the today's video. I hope you find it informative. Whatsoever question I have given to you at the end of the session, I'm looking forward with respect to the solution of the same, what you guys can look up to and you can do your research and came up with the answer. I'm looking for your answers, and whichever answer I got at the very best, I will force you to respond to you. Okay. So with this, let's end the today's live. Bye bye and happy learning to all. Keep learning. Bye bye. Good night.